Hi friends, what's up? It's Jamie here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. Also, happy Pride Month! To kick off Pride Month, I thought that would be really fun to talk about my absolute favorite queer book at the moment, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lo. If you watched my book recs by Asian authors video, then you already know that I absolutely love this book to pieces, so much so that I wanted to make an entire video dedicated to just how much I absolutely adore this book. First, I'm gonna give you guys a brief overview of Last Night at the Telegraph Club for those who are unfamiliar with the book, and then I'm gonna dive into what I specifically love about this book. I'm gonna do my best to not bring up any spoilers because if you are an avid reader like myself and you particularly enjoy queer sapphic literature and you have not already read this book, then you definitely should read it. I clearly highly recommend it, so I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. Last Night at the Telegraph Club is a YA historical fiction novel by Melinda Lo set in 1950s San Francisco. We follow our protagonist, Chinese-American Lily Hu, a high school senior, as she begins to come to terms with her sexuality. Lily explores her queerness via San Francisco's gay bar scene, particularly at the titular Telegraph Club, which she frequents with her classmate turned love interest, Kath Miller. When Lily's father, who's a doctor, has his immigration papers taken away after he refuses to falsely label a patient as a communist and deportation looms over his head, Lily is forced to hide her developing relationship with Kath. One, because 1950s America, homophobia is running rampant, and two, this could bring a lot of bad attention to her family during an already difficult time with her father's paper situation. So I first heard about Last Night at the Telegraph Club through Nina Haynes on TikTok. She is actually the founder of Saf Lit, the queer book club that I am a part of, that I've mentioned a couple of times in videos now. And I know that I keep saying that I'm gonna talk about Saf Lit in another video, but I actually am gonna talk about Saf Lit in the video that should be going up next Friday, I believe, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, so Nina had posted about Last Night at the Telegraph Club in one of her TikTok videos, and also I had just been hearing a lot about the book, just in general, because I feel like it's a pretty well-known book amongst like queer sapphic book lovers. So I was hearing a lot about it on TikTok, but also Instagram. So I ended up using a Barnes & Noble gift card that I had gotten for Christmas to buy this book, as well as a couple of others that I've been wanting, just so that I could see what all the hype was about. And y'all, I was not disappointed. Like I've already mentioned a million times at this point, I love this book. It genuinely has the potential to become my favorite book of all time, or at the very least, it's my favorite book at the moment. And now I'm really gonna get into all the specific things that I love about this book. Starting with the cover, I feel like that's only appropriate of where we begin. If you watched my book haul Fangirl Fridays video from 2 months ago, then you've already heard me absolutely like lose my mind over this cover. I just absolutely love everything about this cover. I love the colors. I love the tiny little Lily and Kath over here in the corner. I love the way that the title is stylized in like this neon lights kind of way. I love I especially, this is just I really love like old cars, so I love like these little like 1950s like cars here. Everything about this cover is so stunning and I am so obsessed with it. Quick shout out to Feifei Ruan, who designed this absolutely gorgeous, stunning cover. It is so beautiful. You absolutely knocked this design out of the park. It is literally right next to A Snake Falls to Earth. This is like my favorite cover design of a book ever. It is just, it's breathtaking. Also, quick side note, I like said the completely wrong person when I was trying to identify who the cover artist was in my book haul video. I don't even remember who I said, but it wasn't even like a mispronunciation of Feifei's name, just like the completely wrong person. Like I just completely like misidentified the cover artist, so very, very sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure that I got the correct person for this video because Feifei Ruan deserves literally all the praise. Like she did such a good job with this cover. It's so beautiful. Now getting into the actual book itself, I must say that I absolutely adore Lily as a protagonist. I feel that she has such a strong voice and yet she's also a very relatable character. You really just want to root for her because, you know, she's this baby gay living during a time where queerness is very, very much so stigmatized, and so, you know, she doesn't really have like the resources or the language to really like identify and like comprehend what she's feeling and what she's going through, and like kind of like trying to figure out her identity. And also you really just like want things to go right for her because she's risking so much to be with Kath, and it's so dangerous, and it's just it really pulls at your heartstrings. Something that I love about this book, but also just stories about baby gays in general, is just how pure and sweet and innocent that first like queer love is. The sweetness of it all just like never fails to bring tears to my eyes. Though I do find that a lot of baby gay stories tend to end, not all of them, but a good amount of them I've found tend to end in tragedy because they really want to like really like pull on your heartstrings, especially because those stories aren't usually presented as being like doomed from the start. Like you still have like a significant amount of hope that they'll be able to be together in the end. Now, me talking about all that might make you think that Last Night at the Telegraph Club ends in tragedy, but without spoiling the ending, I'm gonna say that it doesn't. Don't get me wrong, this book is heartbreaking. The chances of you bawling your eyes out by the end of it, very high, especially if you are a very sensitive person like myself. But even with all that said, I wouldn't consider Last Night at the Telegraph Club to be a tragedy. I don't consider it to be like a tragic story in the grand scheme of things. And the main reason why I'm bringing this up is because I know that a lot of queer people, including myself to some extent, don't really want to consume queer media that is centered around queer tragedy. And again, while this book is certainly not devoid of homophobia and there are a lot of really heartbreaking scenes, I wouldn't consider the book overall to be like a super tragic story, but use your best discretion should you choose to read this book. But circling back to sweet baby gay first love stories, I absolutely adore Lily and Kath together. They are so fucking cute and so fucking sweet. Oh my god, I would defend them with my life. I love how they bond over their mutual love of STEM. Well, for Lily, she loves space and wants to design rockets, and Kath wants to become a pilot, so it's not exactly like the same fields, but it's still adorable nonetheless. Also, the progression of their relationship just feels so natural and so wholesome. They are literally one of my favorite book couples of all time, hands down. I absolutely love how the Telegraph Club becomes such a pivotal location for the relationship, and how they each explore their own individual queer identities, Lily as a baby femme and Kath as a baby butch. I can't say much more without spoiling the book, but just know that I love these girls to pieces. They have my whole heart, and I can't say enough good things about them. One final thing that I'll mention, since I want to encourage all of you who have not read this book to read it, so I don't want to discuss spoilers, but another really big thing that I absolutely love about this book is the historical information that follows the author's note. Just from reading this novel alone, you can really tell that Malinda Lo did a substantial amount of research, and what I really love is that she chose to include additional historical information following the author's note to elaborate more on things that maybe were only like briefly touched on throughout the course of the story. Fun fact, Last Night at the Telegraph Club was originally just supposed to be a short story, but then Melinda's literary agent convinced her to write a full novel because she had already done so much research. So I think it's really cool that she included like some of that research. Obviously, like inherently this novel is like an accumulation of all the research that she did about the time period and whatnot. But just like also like having this little tidbit in the back, this little section in the back where she kind of like talks a little bit more about like, again, like the historical context of this time period and of like Chinese Americans and like queer culture is just, it's really fascinating. So definitely don't skip over that final section. It discusses Chinatown and Chinese Americans, the LGBTQ plus community in 1950s America, queer and lesbian Asian women, amongst other things. It's all really interesting. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed gushing over this book with you guys today. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have read Last Night at the Telegraph Club, if you plan to read it, or if you have any book recommendations for books that are similar to Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Any historical fiction novels featuring queer protagonists that you think I would enjoy as somebody who loved Last Night at the Telegraph Club, please leave those recs down below in the comments. I would love to see them. Or if you just have any like just regular queer book recs, I would love to see those as well. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.